It's the reunion the world thought would never happen. Julia Roberts and Richard Gere, back on screen together, stepping into the shoes of Vivian and Edward once again. The chemistry that once lit up Hollywood is about to return, and this time it's wrapped in decades of untold history. Fans have been waiting 35 years to see what became of the unlikely romance between a street-smart dreamer and a wealthy businessman. And now, Pretty Woman 2 is ready to answer that question. But the story they're returning to is not frozen in the fairy tale ending we remember. It's matured, weathered by life, and perhaps tested in ways no one saw coming when the cameras first rolled on the original Pretty Woman back in 1989. No one could have predicted the film would become a global cultural touchstone. It was a simple yet powerful love story about two people from different worlds finding each other against the odds. Julia's Vivian was charming, fearless, and warm, while Gere's Edward was reserved, calculating yet deeply human beneath the surface. Their journey from a business transaction to genuine love became one of the most iconic on-screen romances of all time. Audiences didn't just watch a romance, they lived it. And that's why this sequel feels like more than just a movie. It's a chance to revisit a world people never wanted to leave. The announcement of Pretty Woman 2 hit the entertainment world like a spark in dry grass instant wildfire. Social media flooded with nostalgic clips, fans reciting their favorite lines, and countless debates over where the story could possibly go. Julia Roberts, now a Hollywood legend with decades of critically acclaimed performances, returns to a character that launched her into stardom. Richard Gere, known for his dignified presence and quiet emotional power, steps back into Edward's polished shoes. And the mere sight of them together again smiling in behind the scenes photos has already sent long time fans into a frenzy. What makes this return even more special is the creative intention behind it. This isn't a quick cash grab sequel riding on the coattails of the original's success. According to early production notes and interviews, the script was crafted with care, shaped to honor the legacy of the first film while offering a fresh, emotionally rich continuation. The director has promised that the sequel will explore love in the second act of life, a theme that resonates with audiences who have grown alongside these characters. It's about what happens after the credits roll, after the fairy tale kiss, when reality inevitably knocks on the door while the studio is guarding many plot details. Early whispers from the set hint at a layered and heartfelt story. Vivian's transformation from the first film, her journey toward independence, confidence, and self-worth appears to be central again, but this time the challenges are different. She is no longer the woman who needed rescuing, and Edward is no longer the man who thought he had all the answers. The world has changed around them, and so have they. There are hints that the story will touch on family dynamics, business upheavals, and perhaps even the bittersweet weight of time. But beyond plot points, it's the emotional pull of nostalgia that has everyone counting the days. Seeing Julia and Richard together again stirs something rare in modern cinema, a genuine emotional connection that can't be faked or manufactured. They're not just reprising roles. They're revisiting a shared past that audiences have carried in their hearts for decades. And in a Hollywood landscape filled with reboots and remakes, this feels different. It's a continuation, a love letter, and perhaps even a farewell, all in one. The first section of this journey sets the stage, a love story frozen in memory, about to be thawed by time, truth, and the unpredictable ways life shapes the people we once knew. Pretty Woman 2 isn't just asking us to watch. It's inviting us to remember, to wonder, and to hope that some stories really can have a second happily ever after. Asterisk. The first look at Pretty Woman 2 has already sent fans into a wave of nostalgia, but it's the little details in those images and on-set leaks that are sparking the most excitement. In the newly released stills, Vivian and Edward are seen walking down a quiet, cobblestone street at dusk. Vivian's outfit instantly catches the eye, not the short, flashy attire from her younger days, but a tailored cream-colored coat with soft gold buttons, paired with classic heels. It's elegance without losing that hint of boldness she's always carried. Edward, beside her, wears a charcoal suit with an open collar, No, tie a subtle sign that perhaps he's shed a bit of that rigid businessman image we remember. The scene is framed with warm light spilling from shop windows, suggesting a sense of intimacy and calm. Yet there's something in their expressions, a mixture of comfort and unresolved tension that tells us this reunion will not be without complications from behind the camera. We know that director Gary Marshall's legacy is being honored. Even though he passed away in 2016, the production has brought in a director who worked closely with Marshall on several projects, ensuring the tone remains authentic. Set designers have even recreated certain key locations from the original film, like the luxurious Beverly Hills hotel lobby where Vivian first turned heads, and a reimagined version of the famous penthouse balcony. These recreated sets are more than just fan service, they're emotional anchors, pulling us right back into the heart of their world. Wardrobe choices also play a massive role in the storytelling this time. Costume designers have been careful to give Julia Roberts' character a look that blends her independent, self-made success with small nods to her past. One particularly striking outfit seen during filming mirrors the iconic red evening gown from the first film, but this time it's a deep burgundy with a modern cut symbolizing maturity, depth, and the evolution of her love story. Richard Gere's Edward has similarly evolved. Gone are the stiff, ultra-formal suits of the 90s. His wardrobe now includes softer fabrics, warmer tones, and a slightly relaxed style, suggesting a man who has learned to bend rather than break. Leaked set whispers reveal that one major scene was filmed on the exact same street where Vivian and Edward first met. Only now, it's framed differently. The camera follows them from behind as they walk side by side, older, wiser, and carrying years of shared history. The choice to film in real, practical locations rather than relying heavily on green screens gives the sequel an authentic texture, something fans of the original will deeply appreciate. We also get glimpses of supporting cast members, some familiar and some entirely new. There's a brief moment in the teaser showing Vivian speaking to a young woman in her 20s, who many speculate could be her daughter or perhaps a protege she's mentoring. Edward is also seen shaking hands with a charismatic new character, rumored to be a business rival or former friend, adding hints of potential conflict. Even the soundtrack is getting fans emotional. While the production hasn't confirmed the full playlist, snippets from the set suggest a modern orchestral version of "Oh, Pretty Woman" will be featured, possibly in a more emotional context than the upbeat original. This careful blend of old and new nostalgia mixed with fresh cinematic elements feels like a deliberate attempt to bridge the decades for both longtime fans and a new generation of viewers. What's most striking in these first look moments is that Pretty Woman 2 doesn't appear to be relying solely on the past for its charm. Instead, it's presenting Vivian and Edward as living, breathing characters whose lives have been shaped by choices, successes, and regrets. The glances they share in those still frames tell us there's unfinished business between them, conversations that never happened, feelings that were never fully explored. And if the production team is already teasing this much emotional weight before the official trailer even drops, we can only imagine the heartbreak and hope that will unfold once the full story hits the screen. This second chapter is shaping up to be more than just a glossy Hollywood reunion. It's looking like an intimate portrait of two people who found each other once, lost something along the way, and are now standing at the crossroads of love and life all over again. Asterisk the heart of Pretty Woman 2 lies in the story it's set to tell, a narrative that dares to ask what happens after the happily ever after. In the original, Vivian and Edward's love felt like destiny, a once-in-a-lifetime connection that defied social barriers. But in the years since we last saw them, life has had its say, and not all fairy tales unfold without complications. The sequel opens with a sense of distance between them, not bitterness, but a quiet, unspoken tension. They've lived full lives, sometimes together and sometimes apart, and while the love never vanished, it's been reshaped by time. This isn't the story of a couple meeting for the first time. It's about two people deciding whether their bond is strong enough to weather a second chance. Early plot whispers suggest that Vivian has carved out a remarkable life for herself, no longer the woman rescued from the boulevard. She is now a successful businesswoman, running her own fashion consultancy inspired by her journey of transformation. She's built a reputation for empowering young women from disadvantaged backgrounds, helping them find not just jobs but confidence and purpose. Edward, on the other hand, has shifted from high-stakes corporate takeovers to more philanthropic ventures, funding arts programs and community projects. On the surface, both have found success. But beneath the polished image, there's a sense of something missing. The film reportedly begins with a chance encounter that brings them back into each other's orbit after years of limited contact. Perhaps it's a charity gala, a mutual friends milestone event, or even a shared cause they both feel passionate about. That initial meeting is polite but charged, filled with the weight of memories neither can ignore. The spark is still there, but so are the scars. Audiences will quickly realize that this isn't just a romantic reunion, it's a confrontation with their shared history and the choices that led them here. One of the most intriguing elements is the introduction of new characters who will test the boundaries of their relationship. There's a charming younger business partner in Vivian's life, someone who admires her deeply and isn't shy about showing it. Edward, meanwhile, is working closely with a sharp and ambitious associate who challenges his every decision, hinting at a possible romantic undertone. These additions don't feel like forced love triangles, but rather narrative devices to highlight the insecurities, pride, and vulnerabilities that come with love in later life. Family also plays a significant role. It's rumored that Edward has a grown child from a previous relationship, someone who doesn't entirely approve of Vivian, either out of misplaced loyalty to their late mother or lingering prejudice about Vivian's past. This dynamic opens the door for deeply emotional scenes where Vivian is forced to confront old judgments while Edward must defend the woman he loves without alienating his own family. Similarly, Vivian may have her own guarded secrets perhaps. A long-lost friendship, a personal loss, or even an unfulfilled dream that she's hidden from Edward thematically. Pretty Woman 2 is shaping up to explore the complexity of love that isn't defined by youthful passion alone, but by resilience, compromise, and the courage to be vulnerable again. It's about rediscovering each other after decades of change and accepting that love, while timeless, must adapt to survive. In an age where relationships are often disposable, this story could resonate deeply with audiences longing for something real, flawed, and enduring. And yet, even with all these grounded elements, the romance that made the original so magical hasn't been forgotten. Expect grand gestures, though perhaps more understated than before, moments where a single touch or look carries more weight than an elaborate speech. The sequel seems poised to blend quiet intimacy with sweeping cinematic beauty, capturing the idea that love's truest moments aren't always the loudest dot. By the end of this section of the story, the audience will be caught in the tension between hope and uncertainty. Will Vivian and Edward's rekindled connection be strong enough to survive the ghosts of their past and the challenges of their present? Or will they walk away knowing they've loved each other twice in one lifetime, and that might have to be enough? The answer will keep viewers holding their breath until the very last frame. The official release window for Pretty Woman 2 has finally been set, and it's already shaping up to be one of the most anticipated premieres in years. According to studio insiders, the film will make its grand debut in December 2025, perfectly timed for the holiday season, a slot reserved for movies that aim to pull at the heartstrings while drawing massive audiences to theaters. The choice is strategic. December is not just about family gatherings and festive spirit. It's also the period when audiences crave stories about love, hope, and second chances. With its mix of nostalgia and fresh storytelling, Pretty Woman 2 seems almost tailor-made for this moment. While the film will have a major theatrical release, the distribution deal also includes a streaming launch on Netflix just a few months later, ensuring it reaches both traditional moviegoers and the massive online audience hungry for big-name, high-quality romance. This dual strategy mirrors the changing landscape of cinema, recognizing that the magic of Julia Roberts and Richard Gere appeals across generations, from those who saw the original in theaters to younger viewers discovering it for the first time on streaming platforms. Marketing for the sequel is already in full swing, and it's clear the studio knows exactly how to stir excitement. The teaser campaign is built around subtle reveals, brief glimpses of Julia and Richard in character, iconic lines from the first movie whispered over a swelling musical score, and carefully chosen callbacks that remind fans why they fell in love with these characters in the first place. One viral promotional poster shows Vivian's famous red dress from the original film draped over a modern city skyline, with the tagline, "Every love story deserves a second chapter." It's a visual that blends past and present in one striking image. The press tour is expected to be massive, with Julia Roberts and Richard Gere reuniting on talk shows, red carpet events, and fan conventions. Interviews will no doubt be filled with behind-the-scenes stories from both the original film and the new one, an irresistible lure for fans who have been quoting their lines for over 3 decades. Industry analysts predict that their joint appearances will create some of the most-watched talk show segments of the year. And with social media now a powerful driver of buzz, short video clips of their warm, teasing banter are bound to go viral within minutes. Beyond the nostalgia factor, the studio is positioning Pretty Woman 2 as more than just a romance. They're framing it as a cinematic event, a story about love, growth, and redemption that also reflects the changes in society over the past 30 years. Trailers will likely highlight the film's emotional depth, showing moments of joy and heartbreak alongside luxurious visuals of iconic locations, from the opulent streets of Beverly Hills to the more grounded, everyday settings that reflect Vivian and Edward's evolving worlds. There's also talk of a companion documentary to be released on Netflix shortly after the film's premiere, chronicling the making of both the original and the sequel. This behind-the-scenes feature would dive into casting decisions, script rewrites, and the emotional journey of bringing such a beloved story back to life. For die-hard fans, it would be a treasure trove of nostalgia and insider secrets. Financially, the projections are staggering. Box office analysts predict a strong opening weekend, with numbers that could rival some of the year's biggest blockbusters. The original Pretty Woman grossed over $460 million worldwide on a modest budget, and with the combined power of theatrical release and Netflix streaming, the sequel could easily surpass that figure in overall reach and impact. Merchandising opportunities, from limited edition posters to jewelry inspired by Vivian's iconic looks, are already in discussion, giving the film a presence beyond the screen. But perhaps the most powerful reason this release will dominate is the emotional connection audiences have carried for decades. Pretty Woman 2 is not just selling a film, it's selling the chance to feel something rare in modern cinema. The magic of a love story we thought had ended, returning to surprise us once again. The release date may be months away, but the anticipation is already peaking. As the lights go down in theaters this December, audiences will be stepping into more than just a sequel. They'll be stepping back into a dream they've been keeping alive for 35 years.